Marvin, is that you on the Samsung? I think so.
Yes, it is. Hi, Rose.
Hi, Marvin. I'll rename you.
Okay, thank you.
Everybody. Good evening, everybody. I call this meeting to order at 7:04 p.m. and welcome you all here. Okay, and go to the first item on the agenda, which is...
Okay.
Sorry.
I was getting ready to do the roll call.
Yeah, I was going to request the roll call. Thank you, Rosalie.
Joan Jacobs,
Present.
Rosalie Preston, present. Jenny Nixon,
Here.
Laverne Frericks,
Present.
Nita Stonehawker,
Here.
Dave Trejo,
Present.
Harvey Powell,
Present.
Eva Cooper Pace,
Here.
Marvin Bell,
Here.
Barbara Tyson Frazier.
Present.
I see Oscar joined, so. Oscar Ruiz. I'll come back to Oscar. Frankie May,
Present.
Jackie Jackson,
Present.
Vanessa Simmons,
Present.
and Oscar Ruiz.
Would you unmute?
I'm here.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so we have a quorum.
Thank you. So on to our next item, which is to let you know general public comment on non-agenda items that are within the Neighbourhood Council's subject matter jurisdiction. Each speaker will be allowed 2 minutes per speaker. If you're on the phone, please press 9 to raise your hand and star 9 to raise your hand and star 6 to unmute. So any public comments, please raise your hand. I am not seeing anything. No. Okay, so in this instance, nobody has raised their hand, so we will push on to the next item on the agenda, which is reports. Officer Hamaoka, are you able to wait until Council District 15, or would you like to go first? I know you are down first on the agenda anyway. So why don't you go ahead? Thank you. LAPD.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Tyson Hamaoka. I'm one of the senior lead officers here in Southeast Division. Again, my basic car is called Adam 63. So I am, my south border is 120th Street, my north border, Imperial Highway, and then I go east to west from Central to Figueroa. Okay, so just to kind of recap off last time, last few times I've been talking at this meeting have been about vacant properties within my area. And so for this month, I'm really happy to report that there were a few of them that I'd reported in the past. So 11715 South Avalon Boulevard, which was an abandoned house just south of the MTA station. That one has been demolished. There was also a problem property at 119th and Main on the northeast corner, 11878 South Main Street. That one's also been demolished. Those two properties are going to be turned into, I believe, like townhouses or something of that nature, some kind of different housing. So that's a good thing to see. I also had another property at 901 East 116th Street, which was on the northeast corner of Wadsworth and 116th Street. And that house was abandoned, but because it was going through waiting for permits in the time that it was sitting idle, there were some transients that had moved into the location. But I'm happy to report that the builders are back building at the location, and the transients are no longer living there. So it's should be hopefully renovated really soon here. So my three biggest problems that I had as far as housing locations or vacant properties are now clear. So I'm really happy about that. As far as RVs, I don't have any problem mobile homes in my area that I can report right now. The last few that I had were able to be cleared. So, and that of course can change on a week to week basis. So, just keep that in mind. But again, if you on the council or if anyone listening on the call or you have a friend who reports any kind of problems in the area, whether it be vacant properties or mobile homes, feel free to give me a call. I like to get on those as soon as possible. Also, last time I reported the 7-Eleven, which is at Avalon and Imperial, 600 East Imperial Highway. That 7-Eleven, for those who don't know, went out of business and they closed it down permanently. So their only property, the only business at that location is a Cricket Wireless. And fortunately, I was able to get a hold of the owner and the property manager really quickly, and they have been great to work with. I have to say, they ended up boarding up the property, and they have posted today. They posted, I'm sorry, yesterday they posted no trespassing and no parking signs to the location. So they have a vendor to be able to tow vehicles if they are if they have no business being on that property. So they've been really good to work with. I'm really lucky to be able to partner with them. So their plans are ultimately to put in another commercial business there. There's just they're just trying to weigh their options. Another good thing that they did as well was put in security at the location, so they stay pretty much all business hours until the Cricket Wireless goes home for the day. So that's been really nice to see, and that's been able to keep a lot of trespassers off the property. So as far as crime, I don't have any distinct trends going on right now. Most of my crime tends to congregate around 120th Street, anywhere from Central to Avalon, and then of course by the MTA stations off of Avalon and Figueroa. So, but nothing distinct to report. No trends of robberies or anything like that as of now. Again, that can all change, but right now I'm really happy with the way the area is turning out. So that concludes my report. If anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to take them now.
Thank you very much. Okay, if you have a question, please raise your hand. No questions? Rosalie, you see no hands raised?
No, I just wanted to mention that Officer Martinez did contact me and possibly some of our other active people. He is off now for some time. I wanted to read out he's off until April 29th, but in the meantime, Officer E. Loomis is going to help cover our area. And his cell, his work cell is 213-458-4872. Or we can email him with issues at 38328@lapd.online until Officer Martinez returns later in April.
Thank you, Rosalie. Okay, on next to the report from Council District 15. Are you here?
Hello. Hi, everyone.
Hello, Rudy.
Hi, how's everyone doing?
Fine, thank you. Sure.
Good. So I'm just gonna go over some of the field work and reporting that I've been doing the last month. I think I've been in this position for a month now. So just to go over Gardena Boulevard from Vermont to Figueroa. I know there was concerns about the area being really messy and debris and stuff going on that corridor. So um, since I've joined the team with the gateway, I have that area being cleaned up weekly on Tuesday. I have a team out sweeping and picking up bulkies and debris from Vermont to Figueroa on Gardena Boulevard. Another thing that was going on there was next to the Boys and Girls Club with the market next door, selling alcohol and having people loitering outside of it daily, specifically during the times when the kids were there. I was able to speak with the market owner, and he is no longer selling any alcohol to the usual people that loiter outside of the Boys and Girls Club. And I've spoken to Jasmine Herrera, who's the director of that location, and she's telling me that Monday through Friday, a lot of the drinking in public has gone down, if not happening anymore. And then also that the streets looking a lot better as far as cleanliness. A big part of my list were priority locations, like the I don't know if I went over this last time, but the railroad tracks on 116th Place, from Vermont to Figueroa, were I coordinated a cleanup with Union Pacific. Still maintains it's still maintained clean, and my team's also looking monitoring the area for bulky. So anytime anything starts collecting in the area, we go and we pick it up. There's also a concern on Gardena Boulevard about a small car business and parking abuse at 16500 South Menlo Avenue. That was reported to LA Department of Building and Safety. I also spoke to the owner, and I talked to him about parking his cars on, the red curbs and also residential areas. He said he would cut it down to a minimum. It's just that sometimes he has overflow on business, and I said, well, that's something they're going to have to learn how to manage. But when I drive by there, the only cars that I do see in the area that aren't parked where they're supposed to be are on their driveway. So it's not necessarily on the street anymore. By the ECMS, I'm monitoring the area for Gardena. I'm sorry, for graffiti every other day when I do my drive-bys. But I know there's an area on Estrella Boulevard where there is multiple or 2 or 3 RVs. Those have been reported, and I'm working with Kimon Day, who's our unhoused coordinator, so we can perform an operation there to get the RVs off of that street. Let me see here. There has been 1 or 2 Care Plus operations in the north side of the gateway recently. The one that comes to mind is one off of Alondra Boulevard in the 110. There was a really, really big encampment there in the Caltrans easement. So they did an operation there along with our team on the side, on the city side, to handle the overflow. A lot of those people were housed, but many of them did turn down resources. I spoke with the owners of the nursery on both sides of that boulevard, and they've agreed to try to fortify their fences so that the unhoused individuals aren't able to get on to their property or to be able to get into that easement. I am working on right now with, let me see. The only other big thing we're working on right now, aside from the Gardena Boulevard and the encampments, is the property at 18606 Normandy. We were just there with the councilman on Sunday with the coordinators for the property with PATH, and they've finally agreed to putting up filling out the no trespassing paperwork. put up no trespassing signs. They have a security guard there, and they're gonna board up the building. And they have about a 2 week, I would say about 2 weeks to do it. And they're gonna start working on trying to finishing uh, the reconstruction of the building, so they can open it up sooner, so it become less of a nuisance for the area. I think that's all I have for the moment. If you guys have any questions.
Rudy, this is Rosalie. Are you also working on the homeless encampment on the north side of Redondo Beach Boulevard, east of the 110? I think some work was being done on that also. It's a DWP easement as well as Caltrans.
Yes, so all those are coordinated with. So it's when it comes to encampments, we have to do what's called a Care Plus. I'm sure Nicholas has gone through that in the past. So what they do is they do a 72-hour notice. I think the next one there is gonna be, I can't give you an exact date. I'm not supposed to, but it's gonna be in the next couple weeks. So I am working on it.
Thank you. Are there any questions or other questions or comments? Please raise your hand.
I have my hand up. I'm gonna just
Dave,
oh,
thank you. Okay.
thank you. I'm gonna appreciate Rudy for jumping into action and getting in on Gardena Boulevard. There's lots of stuff going on there, and I know I've been very communicative. So I just wanted to appreciate that. I was at our district office today all day. If not, I would have come out to Gardena Boulevard to appreciate you and join you all. But I look forward to doing so on a Tuesday in the future. And I appreciate your efforts thus far, Rudy. And then I guess the other one thing I was going to say, the last meeting we were at, one of the stakeholders for District 3 mentioned support for behind the Rosecrans Park or Rosecrans Rec Center, between the park and the railroad encampments that were there. I don't know if those are the same ones that Rosalie's mentioning, or if they're different. There's so many in our gateway.
No, that's a different area.
Yeah, but I
It's
believe that.
along the Union Pacific tracks
Got
south
it.
of Rosecrans.
Was the one that Erica mentioned was the one right behind Rosecrans Rec, next to the
South
railroad,
of
if I'm correct.
south of Rosecrans along the Union Pacific tracks.
So the one on the Union Pacific tracks was done a month ago. The only thing I was able to, I can request another cleanup from Union Pacific for that and not a cleanup. Yeah, cleanup for that encampment. Soon, I was able to request Parks and Rec to fortify the fence at the corner there, by the railroad track. So that work order's in process. The one that's by the AT&T, the lot over that the Rosalie's talking about. I was just there on Saturday for a cleanup with uh, one of the community members, Dave Matthews, and he was able to get a couple people housed and offered resources, but that's going to be that's a pretty big encampment. And again, the only thing we can do with the city is do we could stand by for the overflow. So I have to talk to Caltrans into coordinating a cleanup there, along that easement. If you see it from south to north on all Caltrans property, it's just really, really bad. What I've been good at doing in the gateway is it's getting the coordinating responses a lot faster from them. It's a process. So we're definitely working on it.
Okay. Thank you, Rudy.
One more thing. I am locating the not the homeowners, the apartment building owners on Amesworth 166, Amesworth and 162nd, all around the area there, to have them collaborate with us. I was able to find one owner on 164th and Amesworth, and she said that that's a problematic chronic illegal dumping area. And I said, that's fine. We're addressing the bulky items, but we also need you as a property owner to keep the area clean. So I let her know that our team's gonna tackle that tomorrow on 164th and Amesworth. But from here on, aside from the bulkies, they have to keep that corner clean. So that's how I've been able to navigate that. I'm just trying to pinpoint the rest so they can keep the areas clean. And I also reported all the bulkies on the street today.
I appreciate that, Rhythm, chiming in again on 165th and Ainsworth. They have a property management sign, and I was able to reach them, and they said that they don't manage that one anymore. So if you are looking at beachfront properties or something like that, that's on the actual 165th and Ainsworth. They don't manage it anymore. I'm not sure who manages it, but they don't manage it anymore. Just so you don't go chasing that lead.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I noted.
Hello, this is Marvin Bell. This is Six Rep.
Marvin.
There's a problem that needs to be addressed on Figueroa and between 117th and 15th. It's the railroad crossing the caution bar. It sits out in the middle of Figueroa. And me and what's his name? The other gentleman that was before you. We spoke on it numerous times and nothing has been done.
Okay, so you said it's the crossing the bar.
Yes.
All right, I'll reach out to Union Pacific so they can take care of that.
Okay, thank you very much.
117th and 115th. Okay, cool.
Yes, thank you.
No problem.
Okay. Any other hands? I'm not seeing any. So in which case, want to say thank you very much, Rudy. This is really cheering that so much is happening. And we appreciate all the work you're doing on this. Okay, and so, and are there other elected officials here? Or I don't see anyone except neighborhood empowerment, sorry, Helena. So if there is no one else, then let us go on, and I'll ask Helena to give a report. Helena Doob.
Hi everyone.
Hi, Helena, how are you?
Hi. Oh, I'm good. I'm really enjoying this weather, so I hope you're all enjoying it too. It's definitely putting me in a brighter mood. Well, happy Tuesday. If anyone's attending and doesn't know, my name's Helena Daub. I'm with the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment. Most of my updates are going to pertain to the board. That said, I pulled some of the high-level updates that I think will impact that my boards might be most interested in. And then, of course, I'll send you my recap with all of the updates. There's a lot of them. But for high-level ones, I think I brought this up in this last meeting, but if not, I'm going to repeat it. Rec and Parks is still conducting a Parks Needs Assessment for 2025. NCs can submit a report if that's something you all wanted to do, but I would recommend everyone take the survey. You can find it at needs.parks.lacity.gov. It's in 11 languages. You can take a short one or a long one. I think I took the long one. It was pretty long, so maybe the short one, but depending on how much feedback you have. On that same page, they also have recurring RAP meetings. That's Rec and Parks. For community members to share their feedback. I just think it's important. I know a lot of folks have at least in a lot of the boards meetings I attend, it seems like there's a lot of feedback surrounding parks. So I always say there's power in numbers, and if everyone submits their feedback that way, hopefully they can address and escalate the most pressing issues that they're seeing repeated a lot. The next update, and I don't think I heard this mentioned, but 311. So My LA 311, the app and website have been updated and are live. It's supposed to, the user experience has been improved. I'll even say that I went to the website myself to play around with it. I did find it easier than the last one. And I know folks have asked, like, will this mean higher response times? I can't speak to that. But one thing I did notice is you can now search all service requests within your NC boundaries, and it's super easy. So I have the tab pulled up now, and at the top, you'll have the request, and then you'll have the ability to search all requests and then filter. And so you can filter by Harbor Gateway North. And you can see, I see a ton of little red pins of all the service requests. I find that useful because one thing that, again, I often hear across LA City is people submitting requests and the same requests over and over and over. What's happening? Well, what I hear council district reps recommend is compiling all of those 311 service request numbers and sharing them with your council district reps to escalate those repeated concerns. So check it out. The website is also now available in 243 languages. All of the links, if you can't find it on your own, will be in my recap. And if anyone in attendance wants that, you can email me. My email, I believe it's on the agenda. I also have heard that if you had requests on the old app, you should submit a new request. So just a heads up, I didn't hear that shared here, but I have heard that at other NC meetings. Another thing, and I learned this is open to the public just today, which is cool, but the mayor's office is doing an infrastructure update on Wednesday, April 16th. So that's next week at 5 o'clock via Zoom. This session will cover their city's beautification efforts, the My LA 311 improvements. So that's another great place to get more of these information on that. And then also updates on the Clean LA initiative. Again, to the neighborhood council, you'll get all of those direct links in my recap. And then lastly, 2 admin updates. First one on teleconferencing. So my department is working with Assembly Member Mike Fong's office on AB 467 to extend teleconferencing through January 1st, 2031, so another 5 years. And similarly, Senator Durazo is working on SB, Senate Bill 707, to extend those for city and county governments. I'll continue to update my boards on any new information, but two things you can do that I highly recommend, especially for this board that utilizes that option. The first thing, Senator Durazo's office is gathering community input through a survey. So I'm going to share that survey with you all. I encourage you to take a moment. It said it was a quick survey. Fill that out. If they don't hear a lot of folks care that much, it's hard to say they would be able to push this forward, but if they have a lot of public feedback that they can share at the time of voting, go for it. It has already passed committee, so that's one positive. Also, for AB 467, you are all welcome to write a letter in support of it. I'll include a template and a fact sheet on how to share those letters with Mike Fong's office. And then the last thing for budget is you all may have seen, because it was sent to the entire board email, Harbor Gateway North has a new city clerk funding rep. The last one went to another department, Anna Cordoso. She is fantastic. So if you ever have funding or process questions, she's really supportive. I recommend reaching out. Don't hesitate. And I did see in her email, I want to flag some important fiscal dates in case you missed it. May 20th is the final date to submit an event request for approval using the current fiscal year funds. June 1st is the final date to submit a check payment request through this funding system portal. That would include NPGs. That's June 1st. And then the last is June 20th is the final date to make purchases with the NC Bank card. I want to flag this because as some of you all know, the city is in a budget crisis, and the mayor's office will be releasing the budget on the 21st. So I don't even know where my department will stand. Of course, things will take time, and there's going to be a lot of ongoing conversations. But what I would advise, and really this is something that's been true should have been true forever. I don't know if it's been stated enough. Spend your money. NC should be spending their money. I know a lot of NCs do the rollover funds, but I kind of in a way to inform and educate. If you are like a nonprofit saying you got a grant for $1 million and you only spent 800,000, those grantors at the next round, they're going to say, oh, you don't need $1 million. You only need 800 because you're not spending all of it. So it's really important. And that's true of so many companies. When you get a budget, you want to spend it all. So I highly advise all my boards, spend your funds so that when it comes time to evaluate how funds are being used, they can say, oh, well, they definitely need this money. That's it for the high level updates. And if anyone has questions, you can always email me.
Thank you for that, Helena.
You're welcome.
And for the advice. Okay.
Joan,
is
I just want to
Yes.
point out that Jocelyn Dominguez is here from the
Right.
mayor.
Thank you. I just seen that. Thank you. Jocelyn, are you unmuted? Is she unmuted, Rosalie? Jocelyn Dominguez?
He's just been made a panelist.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, good evening. I just had my hand up so I can give my updates next.
Yes, please
thank
go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, hello everyone. Good evening, board members. First off, just want to say, I apologize for being absent the last few months. I was on temporary assignment. I was temporarily assigned to the recovery efforts to assist our Angelinos who were impacted by the fires that I'm sure we're all aware took place in January. And then also just want to start by just saying thank you to, anyone or any of the groups here who stepped up to assist in the efforts, whether it was just donating or even simply just spreading information. I saw the impact firsthand, so just want to say, truly thank you. Thank you for coming together as a city to help our Angelinos in need. But yeah, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Jocelyn Dominguez. I am the Community Engagement Manager for Mayor Karen Bass, and I'm also the Watts Harbor Area Representative for the office. So I do have a few updates. One of them is very exciting. Very excited to say that we are starting up our Days of Service or Service Day LA events again. Our goal is to have these at each council district by the end of the year. But this month we are changing it up and we are having multiple sites across the city. I think right now we're at 17 sites. This will be taking place on April 26th in celebration of Earth Day. So our office is partnering with various groups and council offices across the city, all the way from the Valley, all the way down to San Pedro, to help bring volunteers and Angelinos together to help build a cleaner and more green LA. As we all know, it's we're about a year away at this point before we host the World, right? We all know that we have the World Cup coming up next summer. And we need to be ready. So we are hoping to launch these events on a monthly basis to help bring Angelinos together to engage in either community cleanups, murals, or whatever it might be to just help brighten up our community. So within our district, we actually have 3 sites. One will be Watts at Imperial Courts. This is in partnership with HACLA. And also at Rancho San Pedro in the San Pedro community, also in partnership with HECLA. And this morning we added an additional site in the Harbor Gateway South. I believe it was Halldale and 225th Street. So super exciting. I did share out the information in my email blast. Some of you may have already received that. Please feel free to share that in your newsletters or just share out with your neighbors, clients, partners, whatever it may be. This is really, again, it's from the valley all the way down to the water. So it's open for everyone, and it's just a great way to bring our communities together. And it's also in partnership with Council District 15. So thank you to the council member for his office's support on that. And then also just wanted to give an update because I know the concerns about Gardena Boulevard were brought up earlier. Our office was looped into that email as well, so thank you for bringing that to our awareness. I did share that with our gang reduction youth development team, GRID, and I learned that that is actually not in one of their service area zones. But the senior director of GRID is actually going to be touring the site. He may have already toured it or will be doing so before the end of the week with intervention specialists. So he will be touring the area to evaluate the need. And then next week, he will be following up with some recommendations on what next steps to take. And then I know, again, I was on temporary assignment, so this is actually my first week back full time in this role. So it's taking me a little bit of time to just catch up on all the emails that I've missed. So I will be following up.
Hello.
Oh, hello. Oh, sorry. I thought the same chat. Sorry. So yeah, just he'll be following up some recommendations. And again, I'm just still catching up on emails. So you will hear from me shortly so we can schedule that follow-up meeting on that as well. And then I know it was already mentioned about the new MyLA 311 app and also the infrastructure meeting that we are having next week. So please, I do encourage you all to attend that. I'm sure they're going to be touching on the new app during that infrastructure meeting, but it's just a great way to be informed on what's going on across the city as far as like streetlights, sidewalks, paved roads, anything like that. And I believe those are all of my updates, unless there's any questions.
Thank you. Dave, you have your hand up. Go
Hi,
ahead.
Justin. Thank you for mentioning Gardena Boulevard, and I appreciate you talking about the survey or the grid, the person from grid coming out. What does that actually look like in terms of them assessing needs? What does that process look like?
That's a great question. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not totally sure. He is an expert. He's done multiple gang intervention programs across the country, actually. So he's gonna be going out there with a intervention specialist, so someone who's already working for an organization who does this work already. So they'll be taking a look at the area and assessing the needs. And as mentioned, he's gonna follow up with some recommendations. I'm not an expert in that field, so I don't know exactly like the details as far as what it is that they do while they're there, but that's just the information that he shared with me.
Got it. Would you be able to at another meeting get us some transparency in terms of what that process looks like? I mean, I'm curious as to
Yeah.
I'm curious to what that entails.
No problem. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Avi, you have your hand up.
Yes, I was wondering, are they gonna assess the whole area of our areas, all the areas, or just one particular area?
As far as right now, it was just that area. That was the one that was brought to our attention. If there is another specific area or neighborhood that you have concerns about, please feel free to reach out to me. My email is basically my name, so jocelyn.dominguez@lacity.org. And I'm more than happy to share that with our GRID team as well.
Okay, thank you. And do you know when they're gonna be coming out? Or they didn't give me no particular date?
They didn't give a specific date. They just said this week.
Oh, okay then.
Mhm.
All right, thank you.
Because Jocelyn, this is Rosalie, the G13 are active from Gardena Boulevard up the Vermont corridor into District 4, at least. So,
Got it.
Okay.
and one other thing I wanted to point out, when I saw that there was the new MyLA 311 app,
Mhm.
seemed that we were advised to delete our old app and install the new one.
Correct.
And when I tried to do that, I couldn't seem to get the app as a little icon on my cell phone. I mean, I can get to it, but it doesn't seem to download. Is anyone else having that issue?
Yeah, you mean 2 tacos?
Sorry, do you mean the new app? The new version?
Yes.
It's not downloading?
Huh? I thought you asked me was I hungry. I said you gonna make me 2 tacos.
Marvin?
Yes, Jocelyn, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't seem to create the little icon on my cell
Okay.
phone like it used to. But
I can bring that up to our infrastructure team and see if they can get IT on that.
okay, because I can get into it and I could make a report, but it's like every time I'd have to go through a browser to get there.
Gotcha. Okay. I'll flag for them. Thank you for that.
Marvin, did you have a question? Marvin? Okay. Okay, I don't see any other hands up. So, yeah. Okay, so Jocelyn, thank you so much for all that information.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too. And we will go on to agenda item number 4. We have presentations from 2 nonprofits regarding potential neighborhood purposes grants. And the first is from PESA, P-E-S-A. Maj, would you like to? Maj is here, right?
Yeah, I'm here. I
Yeah,
just
you are
was
there,
curious,
right?
are we
You
coming
would
back?
like to
Can you
take
hear me
over
okay?
and explain anything or
Can you hear
whatever?
me okay, Joan?
Yes.
Joan?
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Joan, did we
Yes.
finish on item number 3?
Yeah,
We
that was
did.
my first
Yes,
question.
I did look for hands ups, but
No, I mean
about the
item
election?
did you
3,
still?
item 3E, the election results.
Oh, I am so sorry. I am, forgive me. Thank you very much for letting
I
me
think
know.
we have E and F still in that
Yes.
one.
Yes.
Department of Neighborhood Empowerment we finished with. So election results, my understanding is the final results are not yet out. Won't be until tomorrow. So
The preliminary results are out though?
the preliminary results have been out. Rosalie?
Yes, the unofficial results are out. And some of us are kind of wondering about them because they show that very few people actually voted. I think Frankie was told by the city clerk that, how many was it, Frankie? 99? They received 99. 99 registrations, but it looks like only maybe at a max 42 people voted. And I know Marvin said that he mailed in his ballot, but it shows that no one voted for him and no one voted for Jeremy, the other candidate for District 6, which seems a little unusual.
So it's quite possible that there were other mail-in votes that hadn't yet been counted at that point. So they could have come in, so we won't want to take anything for granted at this point.
Not
Can I?
according to their timeline.
Do they
That
have a
So-
date
I
for the
thought you said-
final results?
tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
I want to say that on my ballot, I would look for Marvin and Justin, and they just were not listed on my ballot.
No,
Like-
when you live in a district, you can only vote for your own District 3.
Oh, okay, then that makes sense.
They're
Thank
not,
you.
yeah, they're not for the whole neighborhood council.
Yeah,
Got
that's,
it.
yes. But then, you know, we will have the chance to, if it is a tie, then we will have a chance to have a vote at that point on who we would like to appoint in that area. Okay? So all is not lost. Okay, so updates on the I'm so sorry. Item 3F, updates on 2024-2025 board goals and priorities. Thank you.
I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen.
Thank you much.
Just give me a moment to do that. You all see my screen?
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Okay. I'll run through these. I know we didn't have too many updates last time, and I would expect maybe similar. But the first goal priority is for the beautification and creation of green spaces. Does Joan or Dave have any update here?
I have none, I'm afraid.
I wanted to get clarification on what cross streets we're talking about. I met a young man at the Gardena City of Gardena like Earth event at the Wetland Willows a couple of weeks ago, and I met a young man that lives in Gardena, goes to Cal Poly Pomona, and is involved in some environmental organizations as well as like he's majoring in city planning type of stuff. And he wants to jump on an initiative and like spearhead something. And it seems like he might be someone who we might be able to tap into for something like this. But I wasn't sure which cross street we were talking about.
It's the north and south sides of Rosecrans from where Menlo comes out on the north side
Yeah,
to the 110 or I-110, roughly. They're
and
the
that's about
two concrete, well, they're asphalted
yeah.
strips on the north and the south side that would be ideal to become planted medians.
Okay, so that's the only update I have. Is I have someone who was like excited about taking on an environmental project that would support a neighborhood council and would also support his progress in what he needs to do for his college programming and the organizations he's involved in. So I'll reach back out to him.
Okay. Was that student
Thank you.
Dave from Cal Poly by chance?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, I was at that spring solstice event too. And I think the lady's name was Jennifer Lopez. It was J-Lo, if I have her card correctly.
If you got to meet J-Lo at that event and I didn't, I'm going to be very upset.
Yeah, different J-Lo, but maybe equally as cool in different ways. Yeah, I have her card.
And the young man's name, because I also talked with him, is Christopher Pulido.
Yeah, that's him.
Okay. Yeah, this lady's name, I have her card, Jennifer Lopez. She's a graduate coordinator at Cal Poly. And there was, it's probably outside of our exact district borders, but in the city of Gardena proper, they were doing a tree canopy survey. The survey has ended as of April 5th, I believe. And they had a meeting on it. I was not able to attend, but just wanted to bring some awareness to that and curious if some of these students are working potentially in tandem. This Jennifer lady is graduating, so it seems like maybe an opportunity to work with her professor. And I hope that's the name, but it sounds like you talked to the actual student. But it might be worth us trying to follow up with these students and get in contact,
Right.
more importantly, with their professors.
The professor's name is Dr. Shanika Johnson, and she's part of the Urban and Regional Planning Department at Cal Poly Pomona.
Excellent. Awesome. Thanks, Dave. If there's nothing else on that one, I'll move to the next item. Safety and cleanliness. I know this one has been on hold for a while, but if Frankie or Nita have any updates with the coffee with the cop.
I talked to Officer Martinez and I told him we're gonna wait till after elections and we would like to hold a coffee with a cop on Redondo.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Frankie.
That
Okay,
was my last understanding, that it would be held at our location.
yes,
All
that's
right.
good.
So you thinking like the new fiscal year when you say after the election, or just when the results are finalized?
The new fiscal year,
Okay, so sometime after June.
right.
Okay. Moving on. Let's see, these next ones are in the bucket of increasing stakeholder engagement, participation, community connection, including youth. Jackie or Dave, the van bus trip. I know this one was also on hold. Anything new to add for that one?
I got nothing new to add.
Okay. That's okay. Finesse, do you have any updates with the Juneteenth event? That seems to be getting here sooner than later.
Nothing to add on my part.
Okay.
We were waiting, apparently it's Eva Cooper Pace and Louetta Watson who were working on it, the Juneteenth event in Athens on the Hill, so I don't know if they've started working with Council District 15 on that.
I spoke to Rudy Martinez at the open house, and we're collaborating with that right now.
Right.
Excellent. All right, next, this is mine and Janisha's, creating partnerships with existing community gardens and the Venice Family Clinic. I don't have an update except for I was at the CD15 McCosker office opening at the Enclave. And I was curious, this was on a Saturday, there was some sort of a, I wouldn't call it a farmer's market, but there were several booths there, and it's something I wanted to follow up with, or don't know if people on the call are aware of any kind of farmer's market or other events that happen at the Enclave, but I found that to be something that could be of interest for our groups to be aware of. Otherwise, I don't have any other updates in that regard.
I spoke to a couple of people at it was more of a flea market than a
Yeah,
farmer's market,
right.
because there were products being sold as opposed to food.
Goods, right, that's right.
Right. But they haven't finalized. They're in the beginning stages of organizing that.
Oh,
And
excellent. Okay.
my understanding is they're trying to make it so that it's permanent for at least once or twice a month, but that hasn't been finalized.
Okay, excellent, Eva. Thank you for that. I often, go by that area, and that was the first time I had seen it. Doesn't really mean much, but it did seem to be on the newer side. So
Right.
that's good to know that they're looking to establish something, and hopefully they can integrate some sort of a food or goods consumable type of offering. Okay, and let's see, the last item here, Rosalie, the updates on the Harbor Gateway North Neighborhood Council website.
So I think I mentioned last month that I did talk with our webmaster, Aaron Devandry, about starting work, and he said he was gonna do something, but there's no development yet.
Okay. I can keep my screen, Joan, if you wanted to go to the next item.
Well, that's fine. As your chair, you can introduce the people. That's absolutely fine. Usually what happens is the chair will introduce what's going on. So presentations from the nonprofits regarding potential neighborhood purpose grants. The first one being with PESA and the second with Beautify LA. So if they would like to introduce themselves, Madge, hand it over to you.
Yes, thanks, Joan. And I'm looking, I think Seymour.
Yes,
Yes, okay, you're from PESA?
I am.
Okay,
So good evening, everyone. Yes, I'm Seymour Amster. I'm the Chief Executive Officer. I believe at the last meeting, our Director of Youth Services, Araxia Nordican, presented. So we provide.
excuse me, Seymour, sorry to cut you off. I do have your presentation. I don't know if you necessarily want to go through that or if you have something else, but just to give some more clarity or context for the board, we had a finance meeting on Monday, March 17th, and that's where the other representative that Seymour mentioned did present to us and we reviewed. So Seymour is here to present to the larger board tonight to give more context. And we had several questions that I hope got addressed in this updated NPG. And that's what I'm sharing here. But let me know if you want me to share that presentation or if you have something else that you could email me quickly, I could share that as well, Seymour.
Well, so we did email the answers. I think it just might be easier if I just give a scenario.
Okay.
I think I can do it quickly. So let me just try that and see if that works. Okay. So we have county contracts with the district attorney's office and the probation department. And so we receive referrals of youth who are either involved in the juvenile justice system or being diverted from the juvenile justice system. We provide them with educational support, mental health support, and career training. We have found that there is a need to provide these youth with necessities of life as well as their families, food, clothing, and sometimes immediate rental assistance. And so our NPG is for that purpose. None of the funds that you give us will go to administrative cost, payroll cost, any other cost. It will go directly to getting these items for them. So we're not a food bank. We don't buy the stuff beforehand. We find out what the exact needs are. Sometimes we'll go into the grocery store with the families. We'll sometimes use it as a means to create family bonding. We will find if there's a favorite recipe. The family likes a mother and son, and we'll have them purchase the items for them and then have them make it together as a bonding. So we've identified, we have 20 youth at this time in your area. We expect it to increase because it has over the time period normally during annually. We identify the youth by their zip codes. 90044 and 90247 is what we're utilizing. If you want a metric at the end, we can do that. You also want to know a budget. So the basic budget is for food, $2,000, household items, $750, clothing, $749. Temporary housing, we've put down for $1,500. But if we don't spend that within about a month or so, or 6 weeks, or see that we're going to spend that, then we'll divide it up among the other categories. I think that's, and also we feel that this relates to your goals through safety, because certainly what we are doing is by providing the services that we do, we are reducing recidivism. Our program has a 90% success rate. We're also the supporting nonprofit of the Teen Court program, which is not part of this NPG, but we have a presence at Narbonne High School. So I'll open myself up for questions or however else you want to address.
Thank you so much for that, Seymour. And I have the budget up here on my screen that hopefully everyone can see. I wanted to go back to just to make sure I heard this right. You said that you had identified 20 families in our area and you used zip codes 90247. And what was the first zip code? 90.
90044.
Okay. And one of the things 47. Yeah, one of the things that we had asked previously were for like specific addresses or more clarity, because some of these zip codes may not be within the Harbor Gateway North Neighborhood Council area. So I
So
don't know if,
I real for privacy concerns, I can't give more addresses. I certainly know that they're in your area.
Or maybe a map, just as an example, I think I mentioned this last time, but my zip code is 90247. And I had that same zip code 4 or 5 years ago when I lived in the city of Gardena proper, but not in Harbor Gateway North. So there would just be some concern on our end, I guess less of a concern, more of just clarification purposes of making sure that those that you're serving in this grant are within, for sure, our neighborhood council boundaries.
I don't know what more I can give you on that point.
Where is
what?
the other zip code? What are the boundaries of the other zip code, the 900?
90044 includes our districts 5 and 6, but
Okay.
it also extends way further north into
Right.
the other parts of city of LA and also LA County.
Okay. So it's a question of just expressing that it must be used for, I think, that these funds must be used only within our boundaries. But I think
That's right.
you understood that, right? Okay, thank you. Nita has her hands up for a question. Nita?
Yes, ma'am. Along the same lines, we're not asking you to give us personal addresses. We are asking you to assure us that those addresses are within our boundaries. We can supply you boundary and district maps if that's necessary.
Okay, so let me put it this way to you. We've identified this by the zip code.
Mhm.
And then what I would do is I would make sure that our team that's actually doing it, if you got the fund, if we receive funds from you, would earmark, and I would give them the map and make sure that our budget for your area, whatever you give us, has to be done within those areas, and we would tailor it down. And let me put it this way, there's no question in my mind. So the worst that would happen, let's say that because we do this generally because we've got over 2,000 families. I might be off by maybe 5 families, but I'll tell you within 3 weeks, we'll be probably up by 10. So it'll just be for us earmarking it and make sure that we pinpoint it. And I'm probably going to be up by more. I mean, the district attorney's office is now having a speak next week for us to get chronic absenteeism referrals for the entire county because we're the only community-based organization providing those services. So we're going to be inundated. So our problem is like any other, I'm not going to say like any other, but like most nonprofits, we get funds that come in that are earmarked. We don't have funds for your area that we can use to provide necessities of life. And it's extremely important for a youth to have those. Let's say the worst case scenario, that you give us funds and we see that, you know what, I don't have enough families. We can easily go into a school because we're connected to the schools in your area and do it from there. But I just don't see that's going to happen. So I think the only issue is maybe I'm off 5 or so because I'm doing it by zip code. Like everything, I would make sure that I was tailored. But it might mean that instead of dividing up among 20 families, I'm now dividing up among 15 families.
Yeah, and to reiterate, our three kind of main asks that I think you're doing a pretty good job of addressing in that meeting we had on the 17th of March was to come back with a more detailed budget, which you have clearly done here. And that's within the $5,000 or and less. So this comes out to $4,999. So thank you for providing that. The second was tying back to our goals. So you mentioned safety. Those were the goals we had just went through in the previous agenda item. So thank you for reading through that and identifying what makes, what seems to align best. And then the third, which I think is probably the most important and why we keep kind of just want to reiterate and want to feel like we're being heard and acknowledged in the sense that these funds will only go to families in our area is really just working with us in our outlined areas to make sure that's where the need goes. So if you're confident that that can be achieved and we can work with you on that, like Nita said, by giving you the map, I think, I just want to acknowledge and say thank you for coming back with those three distinct points that we're not, all the way there a couple of weeks ago.
So let me answer it to you in this way. There has to be a measure of trust. Our contracts with probation, and what I'm saying at this point are 6-year contracts. We need this funding to help the youth get the services they need. You think that they would just jump right on in when you're providing them educational support and mental health support, and their parents would be supportive. Unfortunately, we're not finding this. This helps us address a need, and it also helps us get them what they need to break the cycles of poverty. So what really is, I'm doing the best I can for you at this point, but I think what's more important also is when we come back with the metrics. So I can say to you, okay, yeah, here's the areas. I break it down with the map and I can see it. It would be easier at that point. But I know what you want, and the reality is $5,000 is not going to make or break us. It's going to help us. And I'm more looking at the trust, because everything else, everything we're talking about, we're attacking the cycle of poverty. We're getting rid of homelessness by what I feel is the most important thing is dealing it with the youth.
Yeah. RB, did you have anything else to add?
Samuel, I'd just like to point out that this is not because we don't necessarily trust you or something. I think we all agreed it sounds as if this is a very worthwhile, and we're really happy that this is being addressed with such a compassionate attitude. It's that we as a neighborhood council, we do not have our own money. This money comes from the city, and the city has very specific restrictions on how we can use the money, and it must be used in our area. So that is why we have to be quite sure what is happening, because we have to follow our guidelines as well. The guidelines that come down from the city. So it isn't necessarily about convincing us that you can be trusted. It's more that you need to understand that we have restrictions, that we have to measure everything by, every request that comes by.
I'm mindful of that, and
yes, thank you.
I'm very appreciative of the neighborhood councils. I think you're the closest thing to true democracy that we have. So I get it. And that's why I appreciate the questions, and I'm going to answer them the best I can. Don't take it personally. I know you're doing your job. I don't know what else I can say.
So we have at least 3 hands up. Avi, would you like to go ahead and ask? Would you mind taking questions right now from the board? Are you ready to take questions from the board? Okay, thank you. Is that okay, Madge?
Yeah, that's great. I think Arby was next. I don't know if Nita had a
Yes.
second question, but
Yes,
Arby was
yeah.
next.
Hi, my question is, have you reached out to some of the schools in our area to see what families are in need, or reached out to the principals or anything like that? Or you know, where are your clients are getting um referred from different like you said, the probation department? Is that the only referrals you're getting from, or are you going to the schools too? How do you get the referrals?
Okay, for this particular, what I'm asking for, in your area, well, we probably have some at Narbonne, but it's really, this is not school-based funding. Probation, we're getting them primarily from the probation and district attorney's office. We have we have at this point 2,000, and it's growing. I really don't need to go to the schools. I've got other programs at the schools, but for what I'm asking here is for families in our program that are targeted for your neighborhood council area.
Okay, so, okay, you said you were gonna supply us with, you know, a list as to what the funds go to and everything to help out. I would love to help out, you know, and do this. This sounds like a very good project and everything. You know, because I know it's a lot of people that needs help and everything. You know, it's just like we have to specifically be with the boundaries, because in our trainings and everything we have to specifically follow the guidelines.
I understand that.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you. So thank you, Arby. Nita, you have your hand up.
Yes, ma'am. I would simply like to state, sir, that your assurances, written would be preferable, are sufficient for me. I don't know if they're sufficient for the rest of the board, but I believe that this is something we should do.
Thank you. We will be voting in possibly voting at our next meeting, Nita. So we can make the final discussion then. Eva, but thank you, Nita. Eva, your hand is up.
My concerns, some of them have been addressed. Most of them have been addressed. It's not that we don't think this is a worthwhile project. I believe we all do. But my concern also was the zip code, because I know that 90044 extends far past Harbor Gateway North neighborhood council boundaries. And the Harbor Gateway North Neighborhood Council is pretty unique because we have no high school in our district, in our area.
I know.
Which is unusual, but I know that you're dealing with youth and we have no high school. So my concern was, again, the families that are going to be serviced, knowing that 90044 extends far beyond the boundaries of the Harbor Gateway North Neighborhood Council. And we are bound by city regulations to authorize funds for Harbor Gateway North Neighborhood Council.
Okay,
That
thank you,
area.
Eva. Right, thank you, Eva. Yes. Rosalie, you had a question?
I just wanted to make the point that Narbonne High School is not within our area.
Not even close.
Right.
Okay.
Some of our students might go to Gardena High School, but from our experience, they go to many different high schools.
They do, and it's possible that some of them, or one or two, might go to Narbonne. The children or the students are still bused. If Narbonne has what's it called? Oh, sorry, a magnet, or it did anyway. I could very well be out of date on this, But I know Narbonne has a magnet which can take children from students from all over the city. Then, and so it's quite it's a possibility. Then there could be a student who or two who go to Narbonne and have these needs.
So it's a career technical education program in law and social justice we support. But again, that's not where I'm looking for referrals
Got it.
for this program.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yes. Nita, you have your hand up again. Could you make it brief?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
We're talking about high schools. The grant says youth. In my experience, in this neighborhood where you and I live, Joan,
Mhm.
little gangbangers are starting around 11 and 12.
Right, right.
Not
Yeah,
high
good point. Thank you. Thank you, Nita. Okay, are there any other questions? Eva, do you have another question?
No, sorry.
Okay. How about Nita? Do you do? Okay. Okay.
Can I just say one thing?
Yes.
Yes.
Our program does go down to middle schoolers, 11 and
Oh,
12-year-olds.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, for responding. Okay, so we will go, if that's it, is there anything else?
Yeah, Ken, I was to have my hand raised, Joan. This is Barbara Seymour. Is there a number to reach you? I think I can connect you with another nonprofit that would.
Okay, so I don't mind. I have no wife. 818-943-0613. Oh, it's there. It's 818-943-0613. That's my cell.
It's
Yeah,
also
like-
on the screen.
Yeah, it is. Okay.
Yes, I didn't for sure. I didn't see it. I just seen a 1-800 number.
Yeah.
And
So
Seymour's
it says
email is here as
1D,
well.
primary contact information, if that's any help, Barbara. Yeah.
You see, I don't see the screen for that. I just see the.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
What Match has up right now. I didn't see the
No problem. I didn't either.
application. It's an application here.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Seymour. We really appreciate you making time to speak to us today and
Not a
present.
problem. Have a good evening and meeting.
You
Bye-bye.
too.
Thank you.
Can we move on, Joan, to the next?
Please do. Yes.
Okay. And the second one we have is Beautify LA. I wanted to see. Yes, Mark needs to be promoted to panelist, Rosalie. For some reason, I'm not able. I don't know if you can make me a co-host. I could help with that.
Rosalie?
Waiting for Mark. He is our presenter for this one. Awesome. Mark, can you come off mute? Oh, there you are.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can now. And we can see you.
Yes.
Awesome. Here. Okay, I'm just testing one more time because I'm plugging in my headphones. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can still hear you.
Perfect.
See you.
I was kicked out of the library because it closes at 8 p.m. So I do apologize for just being outside. But yes, my name is Mark Reagan and I represent Beautify LA. Beautify LA services the homeless people with outreach programs. We provide trash and graffiti cleanups. We plant gardens and we host events that incorporate gardening and art. When we think of LA, we envision the majestic mountains, stunning sunsets that paint our skies in hues of orange and pink, and palm trees lining city streets, vibrant murals bringing life to our neighborhoods, and the mix of cultures that enrich our lives every day. However, the true beauty of Los Angeles runs deeper than our landscapes. It lies in our diverse communities, our parks and gardens, and our shared commitment to nurturing this extraordinary neighborhood we call home. We must also recognize that beauty requires care. With growth and urbanization, we face challenges that threaten to overshadow our city's radiance. Pollution, litter, and homelessness can tarnish the backdrop of our lives. It's time for us to take action and resolve to not only preserve, but enhance the beauty of our great city. Beautify LA provides homeless outreach services to help vulnerable people receive the care they need to move off of the streets and into housing. We organize trash cleanups and graffiti removal with a volunteer program to help maximize our efforts. We also beautify parks, schools, libraries, and other public spaces to encourage biodiversity. Thank you so much.
So
Thank you.
go ahead,
Go ahead.
Madge.
I was just gonna add that, in looking at my notes, again, Mark did present, same with PESA on that March 17th financial meeting that we had. And at that time, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, but you haven't updated your NPG. I think you pretty much had it all here the first time. So you were asking for $4,750, correct?
Yes, Maj, but we also did update our MPG to include a small personnel expense for administrative costs.
Okay, I must have an outdated version.
I can send you a new one tomorrow, and we also have a PowerPoint presentation if you'd care to see that as well, with some more
Yeah, that would
up-to-date.
be great.
It provides event.
Yeah, Mark, whatever you can send us as a follow-up, I think would be great. But I just wanted to, I guess, give you some credit here for outlining the budget. And let me blow this up. I don't have the personnel piece that you mentioned, but I do have the homeless outreach here was $1,995. You had cleanup, removal of graffiti, and create a garden. That's like 1,855. I know it's a little fuzzy here, but I think I've got it. And then outreach events hosted by an educator for $900, and that's how you got to the 4,750.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and that's within the $5,000 that they're less than $5,000 that we're able to vote on or to grant. Did you? I'm going through my notes, but the other thing that we had also asked PESA was just to link this back to our goals. I don't have it written down in terms of the exact linking, but I would assume the cleaning was one of the things that you had mentioned was aligned with our goals, right?
Yes, 100%. And I would love to share more specifics as to what these expenses go towards, because like homeless outreach, $750 is like homeless kits, hygiene kits with shampoos, hygiene products, feminine products, and other necessities for them to stay clean. In this area specifically of Harbor Gateway North, we noticed that there's homeless individuals that don't have a homeless encampment, but like we'll find just homeless individuals outside with like a bag of luggage or something. The schools, libraries, and public spaces are where we would host events and where we would garden. So we want to talk to all the schools, and we want to offer a reward to a school to create a garden in their community.
Okay, thank you. I don't remember, Joan, maybe you can jump in here, and if anybody has questions too. I don't remember us having much of a follow-up here with Mark.
Right. Davey, do you have anything to discuss with Mark about gardens and so forth? Because I know you have the eco.
Oh, that's awesome.
Charter, yes.
Yeah, we haven't. We think we can talk. We can talk offline. I can email you, Mark. I'm the principal of Environmental Charter Middle School in Gardena. So we're
Oh,
off
that's
of Gardena in Vermont, and we have gardens and all sorts of things, and we have a partnership with the Willows Wetland. But that's on the Gardena side. But yeah, there's a lot of overlap in terms of our kids beautifying the neighborhood, doing murals um, and gardens. So there's some overlap in our work, but I don't want to muddy the waters in terms of conflict of interest, in terms of like or have any perception of that. But I'm happy to partner.
yes, and we will be giving your school a call. So I'll ask for you, but you're right. If there's for any reason a conflict of interest, we can make that noted, and we can add that to the MPG.
So
Yeah.
are there anybody else with questions or comments for Mark? Rosalie?
Yes, it just seems like this NPG is very wide-ranging, and it would be more for that amount of money, it would be more impactful if one area was chosen rather than 3 different areas. You know, we already have organizations working on the homeless and cleaning up trash, removing graffiti, and I don't know, $900 for outreach events in all those districts seems unrealistic. So I just think it needs to be refined and more focused, and then
Yes.
maybe presented for the coming fiscal year, because I don't see how these things can be carried out in a few months.
That's a great point that you mentioned, and you're 100% right. Typically, we have event details with locations and time, so that we would provide more specifics as to what we're actually going to be doing, and all of those events together would align with the MPG itself. But yes, you're right. I was waiting for him, but I'm hungry.
The other, I think there was a question also that came up in our meeting, or after you had left, that was the actual experience you have had before, because it seems your organization is relatively young. I'm not sure how long it has been or how long ago it was.
You're exact. Yes.
Yeah.
We only just filed all of the paperwork October 2024. The
Yes.
events that we've started began in April, and we have multiple events in April, May, and June. And in our presentation, those are listed so that you can see what we're doing and when we're doing it. And our social media doesn't have a lot on our social medias, but we're looking to add more events to our socials and to enhance the community, and specifically in Harbor Gateway North.
Okay. Have you, by any chance, approached have spoken with anybody at Rosecrans Recreation Center, which is one of the few parks we have in our area?
That is a great question. I have not reached out. However, I will. I can reach out to the recreation center, and I also took note that there's not that many green space, so we kind of have to partner with schools. So we'll be reaching out to the schools, the recreation center, and libraries to just
we have no libraries. I think we have no libraries within our boundaries. And
oh my gosh, I love libraries.
We do too, but we don't have them within our boundaries. They're all outside. And as we explained previously to the previous applicant, the restrictions placed upon the money we receive from the city are that they have to go to the people within our boundaries.
Yes, ma'am. So I'll start.
Stakeholders, yes.
I'll begin my outreach to the schools and to the recreation center starting tomorrow, and it'll probably go into a week or two of conversation.
Okay, thank you. Right, are there any other questions? I'm not seeing any hands up myself.
Yeah, I don't see anything. Thanks so much, Mark, and be safe out there. See, looks like you're commuting right now.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, Ms. Nick.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I think when we left the meeting, the finance committee meeting, we're thinking that we would have another meeting when we have more. Now we have more answers to our questions, or more answers to our questions.
That's right, so that we could give a recommendation,
Yes.
right? For
Yes.
support, if any.
Right. And we would hope to be able to bring that to the business section of our general membership meeting, so that time doesn't go too quickly. We have enough time left to arrange things. So we will not be voting tonight. If we want to have a short discussion, but I think most of us have heard, and we will obviously, when make our recommendation, there would be time for a discussion then on whatever our recommendation should be. Okay, so in that case, I would like to go on to our next item, which is approval of a comment letter regarding the quality of life and safety issues along Gardena Boulevard from Vermont Avenue to the 110 freeway in District 1. And we will vote on sending this letter. Thank you very much, Maj.
You can see my screen again?
I can.
Okay. Is this Dave? True?
Yeah. So do you all want me to read it, or do you want me to give some context? What would you like?
I think the context would be great. Hopefully you shared this out on a Google Doc, right, Dave?
Yeah, I shared that. I've been principal at the school since January of 2020. And the condition of Gardena Boulevard and its current state is about as bad as it's been in the time that I've been there, between the gang activity and the public drinking, and then the lack of street treatment prior to CD 15 and Rudy coming out on Tuesdays has been pretty bad. So there are 4 institutions between Vermont and the 110 freeway on Gardena that service families and youth. There's the middle school where I'm principal. There's Venice Family Clinic, Boys and Girls Club, and Gardena Elementary. And families on a daily basis that navigate that area have to navigate streets that are pretty dirty, and then public drinking at multiple facilities. And then there's been a ton of gang activity on Gardena Boulevard and Ainsworth in particular. There's a barbershop off of Gardena in Vermont that is a haven for G13. And then there's the parking violations. And so each one of the issues in and of themselves are quality of life issues altogether. It's about as bad as it's not as bad. It's bad, in my opinion. It's as bad as it's been since January of 2020 when I became principal there. So I've drafted a letter seeking support from multiple agencies regarding all of these issues that are mentioned there, including the mayor's office and CD 15, and then it addresses some of the illegal dumping, and there's some spots within those areas that are frequent areas for illegal dumping. And so I'm happy to read the letter aloud like Rosie Lee does in the past, or give some quiet time for people to read it if they haven't already read it.
Okay. Dave, I have a quick question. In the light of who was it, Rudy's report and the things that have been achieved or what they are addressing at this time. Is there any way you would like to change the letter or make any amendments to it or anything?
I know
Or
that
you just
Rudy,
want to go along with how we have it right now? I just wanted to put that question to you. Mhm.
yeah, I know, I appreciate that. I think there is space for that. Also, I think I'm very appreciative of Rudy's efforts. The caveat that I would have though, is that there's not really much in writing or official policy from the council member's office in terms of the commitments that have been made. So we have 2, I think, consecutive weeks of cleaning. And we have 2 weeks of reported reduction in public drinking at one of the locations. And so I think if we wanted to consider approving the letter with an appreciation for any efforts made thus far by the council member's office, I'm happy to advocate for that. But I think it's in the best interest of the community to put something on the record, and not necessarily stand down after 2 weeks of some positive action. And I want to acknowledge that it's positive, but I think in order to make things sustainable, especially with coming budget shortfalls, it's good to have that advocacy on the record.
Okay, thank you very much. Somebody put her hand up very quickly. Was that Eva?
Rosalie.
Was that Rosalie? Okay.
Yes, one of our stakeholders in seeing the draft letter in our email pointed out that we need to add in, rather than just 4 institutions that serve children and families, it would be 5, and that's the Nuestras Raíces Dance School on Gardena Boulevard.
That's right.
So we'll add that in and some statement about that we appreciate the positive efforts that have been made recently to address the issues, or that while we appreciate they still need to receive regular attention.
Thank you for that, Rosalie.
Yes.
I see Jackie's on camera. I'm not sure, Jackie, if you wanted to be, but just letting you know. Good to see you.
Okay, are there the other comments or additions or questions from anyone?
I guess just process-wise, as a follow-up, are we voting on this today?
We haven't voted yet.
Okay, so we will be voting.
We
Okay.
will be voting.
I move for a vote.
Have we had a chance to read? Everybody
I have,
finished
but yeah.
reading the letter? Okay, if
Yes.
so, then Rosalie, no, not Rosalie, sorry, anybody. I call for a motion to approve this letter
Move for
and
a
sending
motion to
it
vote.
to the and then
It sounded like Nita was making a motion.
oh, is that Nita? Did you
A
make a
motion to vote?
Did you?
Yeah, to approve the letter
That's-
with the
Yes,
with
letter.
the edits.
Helena has her hand up.
Helena.
I don't think I heard it, but for all of these and including the presentations, you have to have you have to allow space for public comment. So just a reminder, I didn't
okay.
hear it, but just make sure you clearly state if there's any public comment, and then you can move forward if there isn't.
Right. I think we usually do it. We get the motion, and then there's public comments, and then we get the vote. That was what I understood before, but I may have got that muddled. So thank you, Helena. Absolutely fine. We can ask for public comments before.
No, we were making a motion.
Including the public in what I had asked for, but I didn't make it clear. You're absolutely right. So thank you. I can't seem to see the public bit. Rosalie, you must be on your
I
own.
don't see anybody with their hand up yet, Joan,
No.
but it sounded like Nita made a motion and I'd like to second.
Yes, and we would like to have it a second.
Match second.
Yeah,
Mine
Matt.
second. Okay, thank you. And
Was there a motion?
there
Yes,
was
Nita
to
did.
Or
approve
was
the
there a
letter.
request for a vote?
No, not yet. We have just
Okay,
had a
but that's two
motion.
different things. I thought Nita said she
Okay,
requested we vote.
no, we
Okay, I'm
we-
sorry. Maybe I didn't hear her correctly.
and I may not have
Actually, I
spoken
think
very.
you did hear me correctly. I requested we vote and include the requested comments. But
Well,
I
you
did
use.
request that.
Okay, what we needed was a second to.
No, what we
be
need is a
approved.
motion.
We had a motion.
It wasn't a
Who
mo-
made the motion?
Wasn't that a
I'm
motion?
sorry.
Sorry, okay,
The
then I
request to vote, is
misunderstood.
that a motion?
I called for a motion.
And I said, I make a motion way back there, like 5
There you are.
conversations ago back there. And Madge heard me way back there.
Mhm.
And she's been trying to second ever since.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
get this
Okay,
meeting.
I didn't hear that.
That's what I understood. We have a motion and we have a second.
Yes.
And we had a discussion time for the board and the and stakeholders. That wasn't, I didn't make it clear that that was a discussion asking for questions or comments from everybody. I think it sounded as if it was just from the board, but certainly everybody who wishes to make a comment or add something may do so. But so far there is nobody who is responding. And so we do have an adjustment or an addition to the letter as stated earlier, right? And that's what we're voting on. My understanding, it was the whole thing. But if somebody wishes to express it differently, that's absolutely fine.
Okay, I apologize. I did not hear that, Nita. I didn't
I
hear
don't
it.
think anybody heard me because everybody just kept talking. I kind of have a bad throat going.
Okay, my apologies. I'm so sorry.
Okay, thank you. So we do have a motion to approve this letter with the amendments or the additions, and we also have a second. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes,
You're all
ma'am.
in agreement? Okay, then in that case, as seems to be no further discussion, I will call for the vote. Hello?
Rosalie?
Rosalie?
Okay, it was hard to get out of the other screen.
Oh, okay.
Joan
Thank
Jacob,
you. Yes.
Rosalie Preston, yes. Majeni Nixon,
Yes.
Laverne Frericks. Is okay. Nita Stonehawker,
Yes.
Dave Trejo,
Yes, by the way, I think Laverne's listed in attendees, not panelists.
okay, I have to bring her back. RV Powell,
Yes.
Eva Cooper Pace,
Yes.
Marvin Bell,
Yes.
Barbara Tyson Frazier,
Yes.
Oscar Ruiz,
Yes.
Frankie Mays,
Yes.
Jackie Jackson,
Yes.
Vanessa Simmons. Is Vanessa still here? Okay, the motion passes.
Okay. Thank you, Rosalie. Sorry, I've now got the hiccups. So, okay, then we would go on to Agenda item number 6, administrative motions. First one, approval of the March 11th, 2025 board minutes, and we will take a vote. So have you all read the board minutes? Any additions, comments, changes? I don't see any hands up. So I will call for a motion.
I make a motion, Barbara Tyson.
Thank you, Barbara.
Second,
And
Frankie.
a second.
Frankie second.
Thank you, Frankie. And if there are no discussions, no further questions, etc., I will call for the vote.
Joan Jacobs,
Yes.
Rosalie Preston, yes. Jenny Nixon,
Yes.
Laverne Frericks. Okay, I've got to move her over still. Nita Stonehawker,
Yes.
Dave Trejo,
Yes.
Harvey Powell,
Yes.
Eva Cooper Pace,
Yes.
Marvin Bell,
Yes.
Barbara Tyson Frazier,
Yes.
Oscar Ruiz,
Yes.
Frankie May,
Yes.
Jackie Jackson.
Yes.
And I guess Finesse had to leave for her, because she's going to school. Okay, the motion passes.
Thank you, Rosalie. Okay, on to agenda item number 6B, approval of the February 2025 monthly expenditure report. Madge will present it.
Yes, I'm gonna present, again, bear with me. Okay,
You said the February one, right? Yes, good.
yes,
Thank you.
we're gonna look at February and then I have March
And the
queued up as
March,
well.
right.
Yeah, the February MER was not available for our last meeting. So this is why we're going through both of them in this meeting. Back in February, we had a total spent of $4,281. That was mostly within outreach. And I'll show the details in a moment, but office outreach elections, that's how this spend was split out. And looking at the details, trying to hit the big outreach number. I believe it was for our our January 28th general membership meeting. So that was creation of the flyers and distribution. That's where probably the biggest charge is. And then that's on top of our pretty standard office expenditures. And then we also had the elections. We had the event that we had where we also had shredding. So the shredding was $600 that we put toward the election budget. And these outstanding expenditures in February will come up in March, so I won't go through those, but that was the quick high level of the $4,281 in February. Are there any questions?
Okay. And if there are no further questions, then I would call for a motion to approve of this budget, expenditure report, the February
I make a
2025.
motion to approve the February expenditure report.
Thank you, Eva. I call for a second.
A second.
And Arvi, thank you. Yes. And if there are I see no hands up, comments, questions, I will call for the vote.
Joan Jacobs,
Yes.
Rosalie Preston, yes. Jenny Nixon,
Yes.
Laverne Frericks,
Yes.
Nita Stonehawker,
Yes.
Dave Trejo,
Yes.
Harvey Powell,
Yes.
Eva Cooper Pace,
Yes.
Marvin Bell,
Yes.
Barbara Tyson Frazier,
Yes.
Oscar Ruiz,
Yes.
Frankie Mays,
Yes.
Jackie Jackson,
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. On to item C, approval of the March 2025 monthly expenditure report. Thank you, Madge.
Excuse me, yes, so this is for March, which was last month. Just, you know, we spent a total of just under $2,000, so it was $1,975.97. This all broke down into office expenditures. And I don't think there was anything unusual, just very basic kind of standard office expenditures that we have. Some things that were coming in from other months, but they were all paid in March accordingly, even including our rent for April. And then there was just 2 outstanding expenditures. Essentially, those were things that got approved, but were not paid for in the month of March. And those were also office, just a couple, like $100, but that was pretty straightforward, and nothing in outreach, nothing in election for March. Any questions? Yep.
Yeah. Questions, hands? No hands. Okay. So I call for a motion to approve the March 2025 monthly expenditure report.
I make a motion to approve the March monthly expenditure report.
Thank you. And a second?
Rosalie.
Oh, sorry.
Rosalie seconds.
Barbara Tyson.
Barbara, you had a question?
No, I'll second.
Oh, okay. Thank you. We have 2 seconds. That's lovely. Okay, if there are no questions, comments, etc., I call for a vote.
Joan Jacobs,
Yes.
Rosalie Preston, yes. Majeni Nixon,
Yes.
Laverne Frericks.
Yes.
Nita Stonehawker,
Yes.
Dave Trejo,
Yes.
Harvey Powell,
Yes.
Eva Cooper Pace,
Yes.
Marvin Bell,
Yes.
Barbara Tyson Frazier,
Yes.
Oscar Ruiz,
Yes.
Frankie Mays,
Yes.
Jackie Jackson.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. And D, under item number 6, approval of the up to $200 to renew the Harbour Gateway North Neighbourhood Council Zoom license. Rosalie?
Yes, this is a standard thing that our department asks us to renew it. In the past, the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment had the funds to cover it, but now we have to pay, so I make a motion to support the
To renew
approval.
the Harbour Gateway approval of up to $200 to renew the Harbour Gateway North Neighbourhood Council Zoom license.
Yes.
Okay.
I second. It's Madge.
Thank you. Okay, no comments, questions, etc. All right, let's go ahead with the vote.
Joan Jacobs,
Yes.
Rosalie Preston, yes. Majeni Nixon,
Yes.
Laverne Frericks,
Yes.
Nita Stonehawker,
Yes.
Dave Trejo,
Yes.
Harvey Powell,
Yes.
Eva Cooper Pace,
Yes.
Marvin Bell,
Yes.
Barbara Tyson Frazier,
Yes.
Oscar Ruiz,
Yes.
Frankie Mays,
Yes.
Jackie Jackson.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. On to E, approval of $130 to renew the Harbour Gateway North Neighbourhood Council Canva Pro license for flyers, graphics creation. Rosalie, do you have anything to present on that?
Just that, you know, we've had the department in the past covered the license, but due to the budget crisis, they're asking us to cover it, so.
Okay, thank you. Right. So I call for a motion to approve this item.
Rosalie makes the motion.
Thank you. And a second?
I second Frankie.
Thank you, Frankie. And questions, or it's a very straightforward item. Okay, approval of $130 to renew the Harbor Gateway North Neighborhood Council Canva Pro license for flyer and graphics creation. And I call for a vote.
Joan Jacobs,
Yes.
Rosalie Preston, yes. Jenny Nixon,
Yes.
Laverne Frericks,
Yes.
Nita Stonehawker,
Yes.
Dave Trejo,
Yes.
Harvey Powell,
Yes.
Eva Cooper Pace,
Yes.
Marvin Bell,
Yes.
Barbara Tyson Frazier, Barb.
Yes. Did you hear me, Rosalie? Yes.
Okay, thank you. Oscar Ruiz,
Yes.
Frankie Mays,
Yes.
Jackie Jackson.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
Okay, thank you. And then item F, which is approval of $285 for Environmental Charter Middle School. Now, are we still meeting there, Rosalie, or what is happening in this?
Well, we'll vote, but it looks like we're going to be able to use the room 185 at 555 West Redondo Beach Boulevard.
But if that should fall through, we would still have the charter school.
Right.
So we should go ahead. Okay, thank you. Go ahead. I mean,
So
you can go ahead, but-
with the 555 room 185 where we used to meet, it's now leased by the EECI organization, and we have a contact there who has said that they'll arrange for us to use it. I just want to make sure there is someone there that evening, because in the past there was a similar situation, but.
Right, and we appreciate the Environmental Charter Middle School making themselves available to us.
Yeah, and I just
Any
wanted to
case.
reiterate, on Friday, I got to take a tour. Thanks again, Dave, for making that happen. There are, I would say a couple of spaces and rooms, a few of which are a little bit more accessible on the street level, and then one really large multi-purpose room on the second level there is some assistance through an, I guess, sort of a manned or personed elevator. But, there's some good options there if we ever need it, and just really appreciate Dave for offering that space to us.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm happy to be an option regardless. But I want to I think make sure, and I'm sure Helena would appreciate this, to recuse myself from any voting and the discussion, because even if I don't make financial profit of it as the principal, and I have a fiduciary duty, so I'm gonna recuse myself from any of it. Helena, virtually, I don't have to leave the space, do I, or anything like that?
Yes, you do. And if
Okay.
someone can text you when the item's over, and then you can come back on.
Okay, so I should leave the meeting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Dave. And thank you, Helena. Okay, so I call for, yes, did you want to say something?
No, I'm just making the motion.
Oh, okay. So I call for a motion to approve $285 for Environmental Charter Middle School to cover meeting costs for the April 22nd general membership meeting and approval of the meeting location. Now
I'd like to make, it's Madge, I'd like to make that motion.
Thank you, Madge. And a second?
Rosalie, second.
Thank you. And if there are no questions, discussions, comments, then I would call for a vote.
Joan Jacobs,
Yes.
Rosalie Preston, yes. Jenny Nixon,
Yes.
Laverne Frericks,
Yes.
Nita Stonehawker,
Yes.
Harvey Powell,
Yes.
Eva Cooper Pace,
Yes.
Marvin Bell,
Yes.
Barbara Tyson Frazier,
Yes.
Oscar Ruiz,
Yes.
Frankie Mays,
Yes.
Jackie Jackson.
Yes.
And I will note that Dave Trejo was recused. So the motion passes.
Thank you. And would you text him to let him to come back to the meeting? Or I do not have his.
Yes, I'm text.
Oh, you're doing it. Thank you, Rosalie. Okay, item G under item number 6, agenda item number 6, which is approval of a revised 2024-25 fiscal year budget as recommended by the Finance Committee. Madge, over to you.
Yes, I want to share my screen, but I don't want everyone to glaze over because I have like an Excel sheet sharing the differences, but I think maybe I can, hopefully everyone had a chance to look at it. It was in our packet. We're essentially asking for, and we reviewed on that March 17th Finance Committee meetings, some very minor tweaks, I would say, basically looking at the actuals that have come in for all the 3 quarters of our fiscal year so far. So we've updated based on what we've actually spent, and then what we know based on invoices like the robo calls, what we will spend. And so it's a very minor total adjustment. We went from $42,065 to a total of $42,315.94. So I want to just preface this is, you know, a difference of about $200 in total. It's just more of how the money has lined up based on actual spend. So, Joan, I don't know if you have anything else to add from an overall. I will share my screen now.
Not that I think of, no.
But
I think
and
that's
it is an eye chart. I just want to preface because I have it as a spreadsheet. So, you know, we can go as detailed as people want to go or not. This was not in the packet. I think you can see my screen, right? So what was in the packet, if I can do this correctly here. Try to do a little bit of a side by side. Yes. Okay. So this PowerPoint, or sorry, PDF on the left was in your packet. It's out of the way. Okay. And let's see if I can show this. You can see my screen, yes?
Yep.
Okay. I'm trying to just line it up here. So this is what's on the
Madge, just
yeah.
I think we put the Zoom in, but I wonder if we put the Canva in. We might have to
Yeah, I
add
don't, as we were going through, I was just
Zoom
double
account
checking.
is there.
I see the Zoom account for 200. I don't see the Canva. I don't, but I wanted to share, let me make this a little bigger, just a side by side, because I tend to look at numbers in terms of what changed. And again, we can go, you know, it's already after 9, we can go as detailed as we want or not, but again, you know, preface on the left, this column D is what the new total is. And again, these are like pretty much real numbers versus where we were estimating in this column E. And then F is just the difference. So as an example, and I won't go through line by line unless anybody has any questions, but as an example, we had estimated $746 for the board retreat, and the actual spent was $771. So it was a difference of $25. So we went in and updated the new version of the budget to be 771 with the real numbers. You know, does that, hopefully that makes sense, but that's why we're seeing a little bit of an increase on the total. But I did try to highlight some of the larger variances. So this line 22 office supplies, again, this column D is what we're suggesting as the updated piece. So we can only put in $262, but I believe, again, this is mostly actual. So we just want to update what has actually been spent. So that's why that went up about $305. The projector we had voted on a couple of meetings ago. We had originally only estimated 600. Now we bumped it up to 1,000. That has not been purchased as of this meeting, but since we had voted on it, we wanted to correct the budget to show that. So that was a $400 variance. Some things had come down, so that's always a good thing to see. The constant contact, just as an example, is a difference of $73, but we wanted to show that. And then refreshments for meetings, I think $350 difference there. We had budgeted 600 and we've only spent 250. And I believe that's because in January, we had our general meeting via Zoom and not in person. So we were able to save, by virtue of being virtual, save funds in that way. Trying to see what others, that was kind of the big changes that we had. So that was like a difference of about $739. And I should have prefaced that in the office operational expenditures. Again, pretty straightforward. That's why I wanted to say we're at the point now with just a couple of months left where we can put in the actual numbers. But to Rosalie's point, we do have the Zoom account, but we should make a space for, you said the Canva.
Canva, we have
Make a note here. Can you remind me the amount? It's like 137.
It's 130.
Okay. So I know we did not have that in there, but
so we could add a line and then just take it out of outreach or office supplies. I think it could come.
Okay. And then outreach, I gotta double check to make sure. I was trying to update this on the fly here, but I think the big call out here, so we did add in the Easter egg hunt. I think we had put in only $300 and then we had approved at last meeting $500. So we updated that to reflect that. But the Winter Wonderland, for example, we had budgeted 500 and actually spent 253. So we got some money back on that. Same, we got $36 back on the Halloween trunk or treat. And then coffee with the cop, we, I guess we're still holding that, Rosalie, but it may or may not come in. Nita,
It
did you have a question?
may or not happen this fiscal year, but
Yeah, but we just earmarked that as something to look at when the finance committee meets again. Just to Helena's point earlier, we want to make sure we use as much of the funds this fiscal year as we can. Go ahead, Nita.
Exactly. Coffee with the Cop I was supposed to be involved in that, and all these decisions keep happening, and I don't hear about them until they're done. But I think that should come out of this year's budget. I think it should still happen, even if Officer Martinez isn't going to be available. He's not our only officer.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that's a great point. So we're still holding those funds in this updated budget in hopes that it does happen. But we have kind of earmarked it as something that may or may not happen given the time, not enough time remaining, but we're still saving the money for that. We had just the next line item, the polo shirts for outreach. We're still holding that just as an FYI. Some discussion about that we don't have to have today, but that's still there in the budget. And then the elections, I don't think I had updated this.
So community improvement projects, but not NPGs, except for National Night Out, right?
Right. So the National Night Out,
We have to rethink if we're going to give any money to any of the projects that have been presented tonight.
Right. I think the elections was this was the actual number too, right, Rosalie? The 5343. I think we had 6,000 before.
right, we didn't spend as much as we thought.
Or 6,500. Sorry, I'm going back and forth here, but I don't know if anybody else, yeah, we had 6,500 there on that last one. So 6,500, that will be, sorry, I just wanted. Okay, yeah, so that's a big difference there based on actuals for the elections. We were able to save a little over $1,000. So that's why my totals not adding, but that's kind of the gist of it. Again, we went really heavily on what we've actually spent so that we can try to repurpose the money with the intent of trying to spend as much money as we can that we budgeted for in this fiscal year. And this is why the presentations on the neighborhood purpose grants was important to have today as well, because as we're evaluating those, we want to make sure we have money in the budget for it. So to me, it looks like we do have some money in the budget, not, probably not $10,000 for both of them. So there's something to think about when we vote on these next time, just keeping the budget.
Yeah. The other thing I just want to point out is that we do not have to give them as much money as they ask for.
That's right.
We are not bound by that. It's partly what we can afford or what we feel we should, or we can give one and not to the other. It's, yeah, as long as.
And then jump to this because this is new to me. This $4,600, the Clean Streets Awards. Can you speak to that again?
For Clean Streets Awards, it can be for beautification, it can be for graffiti, I would think it could be for graffiti, it could be having the streets steam cleaned, it can be, although that's almost a waste in a way because they get dirty so quickly again, for the same kind of reasons. But yeah, that's the one that we were awarded, I don't know how many years ago, way before the pandemic anyway, and we have not finished using it yet. And it was because at that time we were cleaning the streets ourselves and organizing anyway events to clean the streets ourselves. And we got an award a couple of times.
And this money does need to be,
should be used, yes. It has to be used.
Lose it, or
well, it'll eventually just stay there forever until there are no longer neighborhood councils if we don't use it. That's my understanding. Yes, it won't go into another category. It's at least my understanding from the beginning was that it was our money, and yep. But there were the restrictions that it needed to be to improve the aesthetics of the neighborhood in one way or another.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's important for everybody to just know that we have that available.
Yeah, thank you.
So if we ever did median plantings, that's something
to look at, right?
Yeah, it's not much, but it's something to.
So, to that plan about Rosecrans, that's a possibility too, as well as, one or other of the presentations that we heard tonight, if we decide that we would approve anything. So, yes, thank you.
So besides the Canva adding in, do you think we should move from outreach like 5,000 and put it under the neighborhood purposes grant line item? Just in case we do vote on one of the.
I think it might be an idea.
Because then funding often says, well, you don't have anything in your budget.
Yeah. I thought the 500, I thought, oh, that's a mistake. It was supposed to be 5,000. But no, then I see it was just for National Night Out. Yes.
What about this other outreach events, activities, giveaways? That's the 3,400. I think that's an opportunity, right, to bring that down into this.
The giveaways are pens and little things like that, basically.
Right. And that's a good chunk. So
Yeah, are we having any big outreach events? I haven't really heard anything about the, other than the coffee with COP, I suppose, is an outreach.
Right, which is already in here, and the spring egg hunt is also in here as separate line items.
Yeah.
This retractable banner too, I don't think we were gonna get done in time.
Well, I thought we're
Oh, this
trying
one.
to get it done, yeah.
Okay.
Wouldn't the Juneteenth be an outreach?
Well, we didn't know we would be asked for any funding for that.
And isn't that technically next fiscal year, given that it's in June?
No, the
No.
fiscal year ends at July 1st or June 30th.
June the 30th.
But if we're gonna be asked for anything
Yeah,
for
yeah.
Juneteenth, it's gotta get on an agenda.
And we would need to do an event request by May 20th. That was the date I wrote down.
Right.
Right.
Nita has her hand up.
Nita?
You're on mute.
Yes.
Sorry
Nita.
about that. I don't know, maybe my mind's playing tricks with me, but I thought we already had a request to support Juneteenth.
Oh, Juneteenth.
Not?
I didn't hear. I don't know about it. What? Well,
I thought we were
I
supposed
don't
to
know
have
about the
Vanessa and a
request.
couple of other people working on that event.
Finesse has something that she's hoping to carry out at Juneteenth, but it's not gonna cost. She's arranging for people to do demonstrations and of hair braiding and hairstyles and things like that, so. So, but there's no cost from that.
Okay, so the young ladies that are coming out to do this aren't gonna get any kind of compensation.
Well, it's partly, I don't know. I was thinking it would be sort of partly marketing for those who come out, but it may not be that they're hairdressers. So they
Yeah.
may just be friends and neighbors
People
kind of
showing
thing.
people what to do, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just looking at the community improvement funding down there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, can that sort of looks like it would fit either of the two grant requests, sort of. I mean, one of them's gonna get rid of graffiti and make a garden. Gosh, the other one's gonna house our homeless population and straighten out all our kids. Anyway, I was just wondering if those funds would be available for neighborhood purpose grants.
I can't remember what the actual.
As long as it was still a cleanup kind of thing.
It can be a cleanup. A community improvement project could possibly be a cleanup. We need to
The
have
money we were awarded.
No, because partly because we had a couple of suggestions way back when, but it was difficult to get the people. Well, one of it was that the vendors who were going to supply pots or something, whatever it might be, wanted money up front rather than I can't remember the details exactly. I'm so sorry. But there was something about the way he wanted to be paid that didn't work. Or he didn't want to be paid the way we wanted him, whether it was a credit card or some, no, wouldn't be a credit card, but something else. Anyway, yes, somebody was going to say something. Nita.
I'm just saying, were those funds that we were awarded from the Clean Streets Awards that we received that have not been spent?
Yes.
Is there any reason that can't be put into our neighborhood purpose grants budget for cleaning up our neighborhood?
We can use them. We cannot just incorporate them into our general budget. under anything, but we
Okay.
could use them to say for one of the neighborhood purpose grants. Yes.
All right, cool.
So
Yeah.
is the question tonight, I think, Joan, you posed this, could we take out, you know, at a minimum $3,400, but maybe $5,000 out of this outreach bucket and go ahead and place it in the neighborhood purpose grants bucket so that it
we can
allows us
do.
the opportunity?
That we can do easily if people agree. Yeah, we're going to vote on this budget anyway, so.
And then if we do that, to Nita's point, and we are able to align with the requirements of the clean streets, would we just kind of pay that bucket back with those funds?
No, I don't think we would just say we take the money from the clean streets, but we don't
Oh,
pay buckets back, if you follow me.
okay.
Yeah.
So then we would still have the $5,000 for other purpose
Yeah.
grants. Got it. Okay. Got it.
Right.
Okay. Do we need to make a motion or how do we move
Can I ask
forward?
one more
from this?
question?
If there, Nita.
Do we need two separate votes to decide on where money is gonna come from if we decide we're gonna do this?
No, we can just
We're
vote
not,
on
we're not voting on these, on either of these NPGs
NPGs.
tonight anyway. We're just voting on the budget itself. The NPGs, if after the next
So it would
finance
just
committee
be
meeting, we will come back
on
and
this,
let you know, and then we can change. Yeah, go ahead.
we would be voting on this budget as presented with the
Mhm.
editing of adding in a line item for the Canva and moving 5,000
$3,400.
into the NPG so
Right.
that it all balances out to the same total. And Madge can make those edits, but
Okay, Nita, you still have your hand up. Do you have something else? We
I
do
don't
need to move on if we can.
Yeah.
Yep, you're okay? All right, great, thank you.
so I make the motion that we approve the revised budget with the two edits,
Which are,
adding the line item for the Canva and moving 5,000 into the NPG category.
thank you very much. Okay, a second?
I'd second. It's Madge if I'm able to do that.
Thank you. Okay, then if there's no further discussion, comments, we're all okay with that, then I will call for a vote. Rosalie?
Joan Jacobs,
Yes.
Rosalie Preston, yes. Jenny Nixon,
Yes.
Laverne Frerichs,
Yes.
Nita Stonehawker,
Yes.
Dave Trejo,
Yes.
Barbie Powell,
Yes.
Eva Cooper Pace,
Yes.
Marvin Bell,
Yes.
Barbara Tyson Frazier. Is Barbara still here? Oscar Ruiz, Frankie Mays,
Yes.
Jackie Jackson, okay, the motion passes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, item number 7 on the agenda, board business and announcements. Are there any other reports from committees?
I think
Yes, sorry, Madge.
It's Madge. I think I've said it several times, but just wanted to say that we did have, I guess, our first in a long time of the finance committee meeting. And in that meeting, we were able to establish the chair and secretary, and we have 4 people on that committee and looking forward to meeting more regularly going forward.
Thank you, Madge.
And the Planning and Land Use Committee will be meeting next Tuesday, April, I believe it's 17th, and the
The
major
15th, tax day. 15th.
15th, sorry. And the major topic will be a draft position letter on the final environmental impact report that came out on the proposed large Prologis warehouse.
Thank you, Rosalie. Okay, any other reports? Announcements from board members? There's the Spring Egg Hunt at Rosecrans Recreation Centre at April the 19th from 12 to 4 p.m. And anything else? No. Okay. Then I call this meeting adjourned, and the clock has gone from my screen, so I'm not sure what the time is. Rosalie?
9:29.
9:29.
9:29. Thank you all for taking the time on this rather long meeting and being so patient and asking such great questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Madge.
Good
Oh,
night.
good night.